you've ever brought your gun to the range and you forgot your magazine, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Guys, like and comment. The comment section is actually significantly out of control, but I'm proud of you guys. I appreciate it, as annoying as it can be at times. Make YouTube regret their decision to have me install on YouTube. So today we're going to be talking about a very interesting rifle. We have the Mark 47 from CMMG. It's known as the Descent. The Descent is a DI operated 7.62 by 39 rifle. And here's the thing. There are different versions of the Descent in different calibers. For today's video, we wanted to focus on the 7.62 by 39 version because I think it's very compelling for a number of reasons. So I hope you guys will join us as we talk today about the CMMG Descent. Now, before we get into that, we of course have to thank the biggest sponsor of the channel. The biggest sponsor of the channel is Primary Arms. If you're looking to get optics, if you're looking to get optics made by them, they are the people to go to. We love their compact optics, specifically the PLX-C. But if you want anything else, they have all of it. So go and check them out. Give them a big thank you. It is November now, which means that if you harass them about giving you Skittles, you might get a sticker. But if you say, hey, I hear Candy Cane December is coming, you never know. Now guys, beyond that, we of course have to thank Night Vision Network. If you want to see men in high fidelity, whether it be through night vision or thermal, go and check them out. You can buy, or even better, you can rent, because you know what? You might not know if you're ready for this system or that system, so you can try it out as you sit in your basement, eat Doritos, and watch a little or play a little Call of Duty and burn out those tubes. Go and check out Night Vision Network. If you're looking to get better at shooting, we do recommend Dry Fire. Mantis is a sweet little product that will turn your gun into a dry fire machine, and we highly recommend them. Finally, all ammunition is provided for by AAC. With all that being said, let's get into it. So first things I want to do, guys, is going to be full disclosure. What is my relationship with CMMG? Actually, they didn't talk to me for a very long time. I did a review on a 9mm, or maybe it's a 45 pistol caliber carbine, and it had issues on mine. I published a review, and they were not specifically happy about that, which I understand. But I was told as the truth. I've never had any exchange of money. I have talked to their engineers about that 9mm version, as well as this one right here. This rifle was sent to me for review, just like the 9mm PCC was. So I'm always going to be honest. That is what matters to me, because I remember being a college student and stressing over every purchase I ever made. So let's get into this. Now, like we talked about before, there are multiple versions. There are 5.56, there are even 308 and 6.5 versions now, 300 black. Every different configuration of the Descent is out there. We're going to be focusing on this one. This is a 12.5-inch barrel with that is running off of AK mags, and it is chambered in 7.62 by 39. That is typically about 122 to 123 grain projectile. Here is your typical 7.62 by 39. Now, this round is actually fairly heavily used, not because, we're fighting in the mountains of Afghanistan, but actually because that round is very cheap and also performs very well in hogs. So for my guys who hunt pigs, who hunt those wild animals out there in the South, I know you guys have a lot of time on this because a lot of you have run the living dog piss out of these. So I'll be referencing you guys from time to time. But in today's video, we did run this guy for 6,000 rounds. Of those 6,000 rounds, we did 1,500 suppressed, we cleaned it, and then we ran the rest. I cleaned it, well, by cleaning, I mean I lubed it, and I also squeegeed out the barrel. And that's what we had with this. Now, before we get into the talking portion, let's go ahead and hit the range with a 2-day earlier, younger version of myself who is significantly more handsome. And let's watch him run some drills and see how this gun performs. Welcome to the range. Let's go get it done. First drill we're going to be running is going to be a build drill. 6 rounds on paper at 7 yards, firing all into the A zone. We're going to see how fast the gun can run. Let's get it done. I'm going to go ahead and hit my shot timer. We're at 7 yards. Okay, 1, 2, 3. First shot at 0.54. 1 on the Charlie. Let's give that another shot. Gun's running pretty fast. 7. One more time. That was all A zone. All right, 1, 2, 1. Let's go check that.
So we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, all A zone. 1, 2, 1, about 0.14 splits. That's pretty good, especially for an AK type pattern. Trigger is really fast and the reset is really fast. I do have it gassed down to make sure it works with the suppressor, and it's still running really well. So let's do a transition drill. The only transition we like on Grand Thumb. Okay, next one's transition. We're gonna see how fast the weapon drives on the target. We're gonna get 2 and 2. Go ahead and get it done. 1, 4, 1, 2 alpha, 1 Charlie, 1 alpha. Let's run that one more time. All right, 1, 0. We got 2 alpha right here. We got 2 alpha. We had an earlier one where I got a Charlie right there. Good. Let's go ahead. Let's try a Mozambique and we'll move to long range. It's going to be 2 to the chest, 1 to the head, because you never know if they're going to die from chest shots. Maybe they have armor. Maybe they're really fat. I don't know. Well, I accidentally gave them 2, but that was pretty fast. Let's give it another shot. Woo. Quick, 0.72, 2, 2. Those are good headbox shots right there. I'll take it. Okay, gun is fast, gun is accurate. Let's see what the combat accuracy is. Let's shoot it at distance. There's often a question about how combat effective is the accuracy on a 7.62 by 3.9. So right here we do have a 12.5 barrel that's allowing for almost all the powder to burn. We're getting excellent velocity. So we have targets set up at 300 and we have a target at 500. We're gonna see what the repeatability is. If we can get 3 impacts in a row on the 300, then we'll do that at 500. If it's able to do both, which it can, then consider it combat effective, accurate rifle. All right, let's give it a shot. Okay, going to 500. Okay, figuring out my hold a little bit there, but that was fairly simple. The ammunition that we're using is this Red Army Standard, just surplus. It's not a particularly accurate ammunition, but as you can see, it worked absolutely fine. This is a 2 to 3 MOA rifle. I'm sure with better ammo you could get better, but the tapered cartridge of 7.62 by 3.9 is not particularly accurate. Despite that being said, we can still hit a man-sized target effectively and repeatably at 500. I consider that a very effective fighting rifle.
So we have done the on the range version. Here are the things that matter to me. The gun is consistent, the gun is reliable, and more importantly, the gun is combat accurate. Here's one thing you have to realize. 7.62 by 39 is not a particularly accurate round. It can be accurate. It can be made to be accurized. However, the ammunition that we're using is this Red Army Standard or any mixture of Ukrainian and Russian ammunition. They're not exactly known for being well manufactured. So there's a lot of deviation in there. So the fact that with this rifle right here, we're able to get 550-yard impacts on a man-sized target consistently, repeatably, and time after time means that in my mind, this is more than adequate as a combat accurate rifle. So any type of malfunction that we have gotten with this rifle at this point has all been from one bad magazine that we had. Beyond that, the rifle has been absolutely flawless. I did not think this would be the case. This rifle does run about $2,300. As far as like a more proprietary design that is somewhat inexpensive, but I understand can take a little bit of a bite out of your income, especially considering most good AR-15s only cost, around $1,000 to $1,500. So why would this be worth it? Why would you go for it? So let's get into this. Let's go and do what the Navy loves. Let's go tip the butt. Let's figure out what makes this rifle amazing. So right here, we're gonna start with the tip. So just like any other rifle, you can change the muzzle device to whatever you want. What do you want? Just make sure you're using the something that's going to make sense for you. In the case, we have a CAT muzzle device for a CAT suppressor, Combat Application Technologies. These are some of our favorite suppressors, and they run absolutely wonderfully on this particular gun. So the muzzle device that it comes with, adequate, works well, but change it out to whatever you want. I really don't have any complaints when it comes to the muzzle device or thread pitch or how they're doing that. It all makes sense. It's all very standard when it comes to your typical rifles that you're seeing nowadays. Now, more importantly, let's talk about the barrel. So the barrel is a little bit interesting, and perhaps of anything of any two kind of gripes I have with the CMMG Descent come from the barrel and the gas system. So on the barrel, we do have a 4140 as far as the material use. Now, typically in the military, we use 4150. I am, of course, a huge fan of a cold hammer forged barrel, just because of the fact that they last so long. They're not the most accurate barrels, but for a work gun, I think the cold hammer forged, or at minimum a 4150, is kind of the way to go. Hearing that it was 4140, I was not super enthused about this. I will say on the flip side that the rifle does not seem to have any degradation in accuracy, and indeed, what matters a lot when it comes to these barrels is going to be the heat treatment, is going to be the test performed on the barrel, is going to be the finish. The barrels are a nitride finish. I know some people don't like nitride. Me personally, I've always had very good luck with nitriding on the barrels. And at 6K rounds, I'm not really seeing a degradation of accuracy in terms of its ability to make combat practical hits. This is a 3 MOA gun. It is firing 7.62 by 39, firing cheap Russian ammo. I'm sure with better stuff, we could do a little bit better, but this isn't meant to be, a phenomenal target rifle. There are some drawbacks to 7.62 by 39, but there are a lot of pluses to it. So when it comes to the barrel, I think more than adequate. My only upgrade would perhaps be going to a slightly stronger type of material, but I really don't have any complaints based on the performance that I'm seeing from this rifle right now. Now, in addition to that, as far as the length, we have a 12.5. 12.5 is a great length for 7.62 by 39 because for the most part, you're getting most powder burn. You don't have a whole lot of acceleration past that. And of course, a 16-inch barrel is going to be faster, but really you're getting pretty good performance out of this. And firing through the Elcan Spectre, the drop was at about the 3 on the 5.56 mark, firing at 550. So it's more than adequate, and the round does wonderfully. One other great thing about 7.62 by 39 is going to be the tapered case. A lot of people believe that the reliability of the AK comes from the fact that it's loose tolerances. This is not so much the case. A lot of it comes to the case technology itself. In fact, firearms will live and die based on how well the round is designed, how well the round is executed. Now, in terms of the 7.62 by 39, it is a tapered case. This is one reason why the 7.62 by 39 magazines, the AK magazines, are so curved, why you have those banana mags, because the case has a very intense taper to it. What's good about that is after the round is fired, that tapered case allows for fairly easy extraction under a variety of conditions, cold, hot, wet, whatever. As dirty as a gun will be, if the extractor is grabbing onto the rim of that round, it is extracting it. Now, a lot of this came from the fact that brass was not used. These are typically steel or lacquered steel cases. This is not the best material to use for a bullet because it does not typically fire form very well. It's a little bit more dirty because of that, and you get more grime and soot in the chamber because it doesn't fire form to it. The Yugoslavians, of course, did make brass 7.62 by 39. We did not test that in today's because I wanted to use, a more common round, being the steel and lacquered cases. But all that comes together and you have for a very reliable round. Now, you combine that with a very well-designed rifle that's manufactured to very good specs with a lot of AR-like features like we have on the CMMG Descent. And I think we have a marrying of two really good concepts. And in many ways, I believe that we actually have surpassed the AK with this particular design. I find it to be superior to your typical AKM because of that. I know it's maybe a little bit of a controversial topic. With some upgrades to gas and barrel, I think you could have a very good contender. Now let's move on from the barrel to the gas system. My biggest gripe when it comes to the gas system is going to be the adjustability. And here's what I mean. It's a very adjustable system and it works very well. You have like 20 amounts of adjustments to precisely gas that rifle to what you need. Now, I am definitely a set it and forget it type of guy. I set it to where it will run my weapon suppressed and it will run my weapon unsuppressed. But the problem with it is that to get back in there to adjust it, you need a very long Allen key. Now, they provide you with one and it's not hard to adjust, but there is, in my mind, there's got to be an easier way to do it. If they could open up the side and make it so it was something that could be actuated with the tip of a bullet, I think that would be a much better design. I understand why they did it, but that's my biggest gripe is I love the adjustability. I just wish that it was easier to reach and didn't require a specific tool that I would have to have on me. I always think of every weapon in terms of its combat application. And I think if that were to be changed, we could have a better rifle for a kind of, combat, end of the world type scenario. As it stands, it's very good. And again, I set my gas system and then I don't change it again, but it'd be nice to be able to. Going back from there, this is a DI system, direct impingement. So it is an AR-15 type system. I thought it would get really dirty, especially from the Russian ammo. However, despite that, it's actually remained relatively clean. So we're about 3K on this guy right here, and you can see how smooth that guy is. It feels really good. And cleaning it's been a real breeze. It's very simple to do. It is a bufferless system, which means that there's no buffer tube that it's going back into. The recoil mechanism is contained in the upper itself. Very well designed. I love it. I really thought I was going to break something on this, and with like Gen 1s, you did see some issues. On these current generation Descents, I really have not seen a single issue that I've heard of from other people. And again, from talking to all the hog hunters out there, and they're just, half-deaf rednecks, shooting pigs that are running around on their properties. They love this rifle, and they've only had good things to say about it, and I tend to agree with them. I think that this is a very well-designed rifle. Now, probably one of the most interesting things about this is going to be in the bolt, specifically in the bolt and bolt carrier technology. So let's take a moment to talk about that. Now, originally, when this was designed about 10 years ago, the kind of options that you had for making an AR-15-like system run with 7.62 by 39 was taking an AR-15 bolt, cutting it so that it could accept the larger diameter 7.62 round, and then going from there. Now the problem, of course, was cracked bolts, which is not good. You're gonna shut down your rifle. So they actually went to an AR-10 pattern. They shortened the carrier so you didn't need enough, because you, of course, don't need as much length, and they came up with that. So since then, there have been improvements in metalworking, in the heat treatments, and so that's not as necessary anymore. And so at this point, it's actually fairly well overbuilt. But for a combat application rifle, this is going to be something that I'm looking for. I want something that can survive no matter what. So now, not only does it have that oversized AR-10 bolts, though there's a much thicker wall on the bolt itself, but in addition to that, you have that much better heat treatment now as well. This makes for a very robust system. And it's for that reason that you've seen these last so long. I don't see in 6K any type of abnormal wear. In fact, I see very little wear. The rifle seems to be well on track to fire for a very long period of time. 7.62 by 39 is a very low pressure round. And because of that, these tend to last for a long time, rifles chambered in that particular caliber. And I think that's certainly going to be the case with this, with the added bonus of it being a much more ergonomic platform compared to your typical AK pattern rifles. Now, here's going to be my favorite part right here. So of course, it's much easier to mount and to keep a steady zero on this compared to any type of AK. That's always been a problem. And in addition to that, if you want to mount a thermal in front of your optic, if you want to mount any type of laser, this handguard is rock solid in its installation on this particular upper. And because of that, you're able to retain zero with your lasers. You can put an optic up there if you really wanted, or whatever have you, night vision optics that go in front of your optics, whatever. You have the ability to do it. This makes for a much better overall design. Before we move on, I do want to say the handguard feels good. I really don't have any complaints about it. It's about the size I want to be able to grip. Not any complaints that I really have. You can, of course, change the charging handle to the left side or to the right side. I prefer it left side because once I get that magazine in, I can just charge that and go right there. It's kind of right where I'd want my hand to be because of my length of pull on my long ass arms. But so I tend to grip it right behind. Yeah, a very comfortable rifle. The handguard feels really good, and I think it's an attractive rifle, and especially with my excellent artistic skills of painting, looks wonderful. Now, a contentious point is going to be the magazine. Why use AK magazines versus, say, more AR-15-like magazines like the Duramags? Well, the AK mag is so well developed, is so well proven at this point, that in my mind, there's not a reason not to use the AK mag. People say, well, what about bolt hold open? I don't think it's really that big of a deal. It is nice, but I would rather have tried, proven, and extremely reliable AR-15 mags. I'm not poo-hooing the Duramags, because they are very good. I like the rugged reliability that you have from the AK magazines. Now, even better, the reload procedure on this is actually pretty easy. So if you can take a look right here, we have this large latch, and you can actually press that with your trigger finger. So when you're doing your reload, you can simply press forward with your index finger, put that mag out, and it's much easier compared to an AK because of that huge latch. Now this is an upgrade on certain AK platforms, but let's charge that, good to go. Now as you can see, there is a manual bolt hold open like you'd have an AR. So if you pull the charging handle to the rear and then you depress down, you can load it kind of AR-15-like in an administrative sense, but that's not something that it's going to do automatically because your AK magazines don't have that bolt hold open feature. I understand the Yugoslavian mags do. I'm unaware if they actually lock it back. Mine were having trouble. I typically don't use those specific magazines. I understand, to my Yugoslavian friends out there, this isn't a, anything mean about you or anything. It's not personal, it's just business. Now moving from there, we do have your typical AR-15 controls. We have safety left side, we have your safety on right side when you want to take those longer shots. Great, and even better, the triggers are your typical AR triggers. There's no clearance issues, you can use an AR trigger. The only thing that you want to do, and this isn't a problem with the CMMG, this is a problem with 7.62x39, is that these military rounds typically do have harder primers. So you want to make sure you have a full power hammer spring. Trigger that they include, of course, has a full power hammer spring. I would typically recommend like a Geisley SSAE. Those have full power hammer springs. Just understand that these military rounds, they need some, you got to really give it to them to make sure they go off. Otherwise, you're gonna have issues. So with all that being said, let's go ahead and let's try that trigger out. We're gonna go ahead and ghost that trigger together. A little Unchained Melody. So pushing into it, just a single stage trigger. No play. Let off 4 pounds from the reset. Like oh God, like a millimeter. That's a nice trigger. So from the factory, you have an extremely good trigger. This has always been a complaint of mine with a lot of companies where you have like a $2,000 rifle, Daniel Defense, and then you have like a crappy mil-spec trigger. So I appreciate that they added a really good trigger on there. The grips can of course be swapped out. I have a little bit of goon tape on there so you can grip it a little bit easier when inclement weather conditions and all that. It's just something that I like. You have a typical push pins to take the weapon down. And at the back here, you can put any amount of stocks on it. I think that the B&T stock works the best. That's what I have on this guy. It's adjustable, it can fold, makes it for a very compact package when you're riding like in the back of a UTV or something. I love this setup. Now, I have broken a B&T stock because I'm an idiot. So I was mortaring the gun and I know better. I know to collapse the stock when you're mortaring the gun. Mortaring the gun means when you have a stuck case and you have to slam the gun down while pulling back in the charging handle to eject a case that's been stuck. This was occurring with an earlier magazine that was causing a malfunction. And I didn't collapse the stock, so I broke the latch. That's my fault. It's not the fault of CMMG. It's a B&T problem. Actually, it's a me problem. Make sure that you're not an idiot. So that kind of brings us to the end. The one thing that I will say as well is like the recoil impulse. 7.62x39 is a little bit, of course, snappier than 5.56. You're firing a round that's almost 3 times the size. Despite that, it's very, very fast to run. And I would really recommend you play with the gas system because when you set that so it's cycling fast enough, that bolt coming forward, especially because it's all inline, unlike an AK where you have that huge charging handle on the side, it actually makes that whole thing just cycle right back in your shoulder, and when that bolt comes forward, it drives it right back into target. So you can shoot this incredibly fast. And again, charging handle is non-reciprocating, perfect. So you have a very good platform. You have a very accurate platform. You have a very reliable platform. And I am a huge fan of the CMMG Descent. Mark 47, whatever you want to call it. I think there are certainly things that can be upgraded on in terms of the gas system in the barrel, but this is a gun that I will say is a buy. I think this is a very cool platform, especially in 7.62x39. If you can get your hands on it, I highly recommend it. I am running an Elcan Spectre on this, which is a 1 or 4 power optic, and it worked incredibly well on this particular rifle. We do have a Zenico laser up front and a Surefire Scout light with a Unity pressure pad. This is my setup. It worked really well. Oftentimes with these guns, I'll get to the 6K and I'm done with the gun. This gun is gonna stay set up as it is. I'm gonna continue to shoot this because I have really come to love this weapon over the time I've shot it. I'm gonna be taking it hog hunting, I'm I'm doing a lot of things with it. I am using the 20 round mags mostly on this. I think they look better, but also I like to be able to get low to the ground with this gun to be able to shoot from the prone more easily. So I like kind of the height it sits at with that 20 round mag dug in. And these are just surplus Hungarian mags, but all your typical mags, mag poles, all those will work. Your 30 rounders will of course work. It does look cool. So in any case, guys, the CMMG Descent, did not think this was gonna run well, did not think it was not going to break, did not think I was gonna like it, but here we are, and I guess I'm eating crow. Is that the word, Christian, eating crow? Is that what you say?
Yeah.
Eating crow.
Or eat your short.
That's like, Hey Dude. Remember that? Nickelodeon from back in the day. Guys, thank you so much for watching. As always, if you're not training with this gun, it's not gonna matter. Train. Buy the rifle that you're gonna have ammunition for, that you can take somewhere to actually shoot. I'm gonna be terrified of somebody who has one of these and trains. I'm gonna be terrified of you if you have a PSA $400 rifle and you actually train with it. Train, get better, that's what matters. Guys, thank you so much for watching. Final thing for the day is of course going to be your dad advice. Your dad advice for the day is going to be understanding that time is your most valuable resource. You never get back, you never get to earn more. Make sure you spend it wisely. Take care, guys.